The following program contains mature subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised.
We've been talking about if someone is a victim of sexual violence or assault. My biggest concern is that if there is not proper screening, that you're going to go to a session, and Kale had multiple people come on to you acknowledging all I think about is sex. My biggest concern would be that you go to one of these events for all the right reasons, because it sounds like there are really good benefits for certain people who choose to do this voluntarily. But I am sorry, there are so many perverts out there who will take advantage of a situation and pose as well-meaning. And if you go into this unsuspecting, open-minded, and you end up with someone who is there for the wrong reasons, you're not going to know until it's too late. My question is, how do you screen for that? Because to my knowledge, there's no great way to screen for that. That's my big concern.
Again, I think, so one thing I just want to point out is there's a tremendous amount of fear whenever we talk about sexuality, and rightfully so. It's a very vulnerable topic. So I want to really underline that there's tremendous benefit when it comes to exploring this.
And I like to underline the fact that 12% of Americans have a history of sexual abuse, and sometimes those memories are repressed. So what do you do when a memory surfaces and you don't know what to do with that? I know what to do with that. I know how to process trauma and treat trauma. If that comes up in a session, what do you do if you don't have a license and you have re-traumatized and a memory of a sexual abuse that person didn't consciously remember? That has happened in a session of mine. I know how to treat that. I'm all for consenting adults doing what they want to do, but I know how common sexual abuse is.
So how do we safeguard against these scenarios? Because I don't think, Dr. Dow, you're disagreeing with the concept and the practice if done appropriately in the right individuals, but how do you make sure, and I'm asking both Maya and Marissa, sounds like you have a perspective on this where you see absolutely the positives in it, but how do we make sure the right people are practicing this if they choose? Yeah. And you're not having predators and you're not having potential victims.
In a healthy situation, both people can feel connected, and however that wants to be expressed in their sexuality. Now, the practice is always done with people and the partners that they're with at their own homes in the privacy of their intimate life. And so when you're in a class,
that's not what I experienced. Sorry to interrupt you. But my knowledge of OM is not that. And the people that I know do not do it with their partners. They do it with strangers. So I just want to check in on that. I'm just going to jump in briefly about the protection of the female body and the protection of trauma. That is one of my concerns also with this and other spiritual sexual forays that allow people to leap into new spaces without a safety net. I do think trauma is something to take into account. I find it strange that the big tone right now is assuming that sexual predators are the threat of this particular practice. I'm not sure that that's accurate. I think we've just assumed that. And I will say, as a woman in this country, if I go on Tinder, if I go on a date, if I'm dating someone for 10 years, there's still a chance that he is a sexual predator. There's a chance that there's a sexual predator in the airport bathroom. I mean, we're dealing with that all the time. I'm not sure orgasm meditation is the most dangerous space.
I just brought that up because Kale and Leslie went to one meeting and two people came up to him.
Marissa, I think that your point is very well taken, and anything that opens up the conversation about female sexuality and women being able to communicate and express what they want is a step in the right direction. But I don't think we can understate that 1 in 6 women in America have been a victim of rape or a violent crime. And so it's not an unreasonable concern. But I do feel like these are reasonable questions about safeguarding and licensure and what kind of sexual trauma comes up in the process of this, because as Dr. Dow pointed out, many people have repressed these kinds of traumatic memories, and then without the appropriate context and support once these memories surface, I think that we could perhaps do more harm than good.